to guide me on my path. My keen observations and experiences to this point left me with the knowing that the world was full of smart people, the world was full of rich people. This apparently wasn't helping the human race. What this world needed, what this world was in desperate need of, was better people, friendly people, caring people, considerate people, kind people, selfless people. What is this that I'm describing? Is this a career? No. Is this a new religion? Obviously not. Maybe the attributes of a politician? No. The answer? What is the most important job anyone could have that has the most profound effect on our future as human beings? Parenting. My parents royally did it wrong. This is going to be easy. My parents had laid out the perfect blueprint of what not to do, so I was well on my way. Well, by this time in my life, I had met the most beautiful woman I had ever run across.
You should know that they couldn't create a mirror that could begin to show you half the things that I see in you. Because more important than your face and your shape, I'm in love with the woman you're becoming. And I can foresee a day where your hair is mostly gray and your smile shows intense living, and no one can look in your eyes without seeing decades of wisdom. And I'm not concerned with the woman of the year, because I'm in love with the bride of a lifetime. And I don't want to watch your figure. I'd rather watch you use your left and right mind. And I'm in love with your laugh more than the tightness of your abs. And though a mirror can show you your present, I'm obsessed with our future and our past. And my love lasts because it has the benefit of knowing that to truly be intimate, I don't focus on the qualities you have now. Instead, I focus on the qualities you have that are infinite. And that should be the sentiment that takes us all around the world to ocean liners and beaches and hotels and far reaches where we'll use stolen glances to communicate our secrets. And I hope our love is the one that teaches couples how to share their lives and men not to compare their wives with what seems greener on the other side. And I'll confide in you nightly, then provide for you daily, then in between do the best that I can to treat my fellow man fairly. But it's most important that I be that eternal flame that brings you heat whenever you're cold. And you'll always see yourself clearer in me than any mirror, because I'm a pure reflection of your soul.
And she agreed. Let's create the best family ever. So we were set in motion, and from that point devoted ourselves to a lifelong task we both agreed upon. Now let me say, my wife is my polar opposite. She is everything, and I mean everything, that I am not. And vice versa. I am everything, and I mean everything that she is not. So I knew this would make the perfect team to raise the next generation of difference makers. We had many conversations about the challenges I knew we were going to face. We were going to eat differently, have children naturally, avoid Western medicine at all costs. We were going to avoid daycare at all costs. We would not have cable TV or satellite, no fast food, no junk food, no pop. We were going to homeschool as they got older. Do it all different than the prevailing wisdom that was obviously leading humanity astray. We also vowed we would never split. And I can say with confidence and a whole list of struggles firmly under my belt, it can be done. We here at the Next Step radio show will in the future tackle the subject of marriage and how couples can work through anything. Now, let's back up just a smidge, because this is where my story gets interesting. As we all know, in the 21st century American Luciferian economy, generally in a family setting, 2 incomes are required to have a comfortable existence. Since we vowed to never use daycare, our whole marriage, someone was going to have a day job, and someone was going to have a night job. 2 incomes, and one or both parents at home raising the young ones. During the first years of the new millennium, I had the day job, and the missus bartended in the evenings. And as you may or may not know, when children are small, they tend to sleep a lot. Our children were healthy and well-loved, and we always enforced bedtime. I had a Ferrari for a computer, a kick-butt high-speed connection, was very proficient on the World Wide Web, and I had a ton of questions my formal education had never fully answered. Shortly after September 11, 2001, a coworker, whom I would not classify as crazy, made this statement to me. 9/11 was an inside job.
9/11 was an inside job.
And explosives brought down the towers.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the 2 towers. A huge explosion, a huge explosion, a huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Insanity. Poppycock. Hogwash, I thought. But instead of calling him names, I was going to use my file-sharing talents to collect all of the film footage of the attacks. And I was going to kindly show him where he was wrong. I downloaded, by subject, every MP3 and movie file I could find with the keywords of 9/11, World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Osama bin Laden in it. I watched and listened to everything that I came across before drawing my conclusion. Turns out my coworker was right. 9/11 was not what the mainstream had said. I was floored. I knew religion and education and the way we ate and the way we raised children were full of big fat lies. Now I knew that all of that was only the tip of the iceberg. The more I learned about 9/11, the more I came across topics like the New World Order, secret societies, the Federal Reserve, Satanism, JFK, UFOs, mind control, secret technologies, true world history, government-sponsored drug running, government-sponsored terror, 2012, the Illuminati, eugenics, all of it. The floodgates were open. Well, the children were in bed by 8 p.m. The missus didn't get home until midnight. I had 4 solid hours every day for multiple years, and all I did was immerse myself in information from as many sources as possible. I gave up sports, I gave up clubbing, I gave up all of it, going to the movies, shopping. All I did was research everything I could get my hands on. I would watch documentary after documentary after documentary with a search engine open. Whenever someone said something I thought was crazy or I'd never heard of before, I would do a search on it. Lead me down a whole nother path. In those first few years, I literally viewed right at 1,000 conspiracy films. I read 160 plus books, listened to hour after hour of lectures and speeches on topics, days upon days of Patriot Radio, as well as mainstream. All of the topics that the church or my schooling nor my parents would even touch with a 10-foot pole. I call this my homeschool PhD. Subject, the truth movement. Well, what's the big fat question left? What now? What's the next step? Well, by divine providence, my best friend / cousin works with a guy who was very good friends with a local community radio talk show host. Ben Johnson of Paragon Radio. He's on 90.1 FM,